Oh, thank you, Miss T. Okay, I did not know that
Let's
there was
start
no
over.
song. We're gonna have to start this over. Okay, beautiful
Ask for
day,
thumbs up.
y'all. Go ahead and put a thumbs up on the video for me. Beautiful day, beautiful day, beautiful day. All right, so we just here doing a quick energetic pull for the morning. Okay. Hey, Taj, how are you, my love? We're just tapping in for the energy of the day. And I even want to say for the day, we're just talking about the energy right now that's in the atmosphere because it can actually change throughout the day. I think the moon switches over, right? So the moon is going to be switching over. Hold on. Let me just check. I'm going to
You want me to
check. Um, but while I'm checking that, Kelly Kell, go ahead and let everybody know that you're here. And then Kelly Kells is going to break down energetically what the word of the day is. I'm naming it Stinky Day because the energy in the atmosphere already feels a little stinky. Okay, so I'm going to name this video something probably referencing stinky. But
as
Kelly,
you should.
but Kelly's going to go ahead and break down what we do in the mornings, okay, and what we need to pay attention to energetically that we feel in our daily personal lives. Go ahead, Kelly Callis. I'm gonna look up the other thing.
Okay. Morning. Hey everyone. So from Astrology by Celeste, my wonderful predictive astrologer that I follow. I suggest you follow her too. She's a great teacher and a great predictive astrologer. The word of the day is charitable. The moon shifts into Virgo, turns attention to practical compassion. You can offer real help if you avoid martyrdom. And if you saw last night's live, we talked about helping people without hurting yourself. It's okay to say no. Give what you can give. I even had a conversation about letting someone know my new boundaries that I have that I didn't used to have. Just a little sidebar. And I'll read that sentence again. You can offer real help if you avoid martyrdom. Streamline your efforts so that service sustains you rather than depletes you. Okay, don't be in too much service outside of yourself if it's going to deplete yourself. Under the sun, Jupiter square, generosity and excess compete for attention. Governments, corporations, or communities may announce relief efforts or social reform that test fairness and faith. How can I offer support that helps without overgiving?
Okay, so basically it's saying self-love begins with you honoring what you're committing yourself to. Don't commit your things that's not going to be useful of your time, your energy, your money. And I want to talk about sacrifice for a second because that's really, really big and important for you to be able to learn what sacrifice is because in this particular life lesson, you are going to have to sacrifice. The question is, do you do it? And I don't even like the word sacrifice. I really like the word more so evolve. You're going to have to evolve, and evolving comes sometimes with some uncomfortable pain. Now, I do want to say this though, Kelly Kells. I don't know what's going on with the freaking charts because I am still not seeing Leo is just halfway through the moon. So I'm just checking because you know where I do my astrology and time passage is saying something different.
Do you have the correct location in?
Hold on. Yeah, the location is based to me here in Georgia. Okay, so what's the date of today? Today is the 16th, right? So, hold on. Okay, today's the 16th. No, okay, friend. Okay, I see what it is. You are correct. So this is okay. So now it makes sense why I was picking up what I was picking up. So the moon is still currently in Leo. It moves in and is coming close to that anaretic degree where it switches over into Virgo in probably maybe another hour and a half to 2 hours, right? So within the next window of the next hour and a half to 2 hours, that's probably where you're gonna feel a lot of that stinky energy, me energy, right? Now, once it gets, so I want to say within the next 2 hours or so, just know what Kelley just broke down is what you're going to be feeling for the next 2.5 days. Okay. And what was that word again? Because I did not write it down. I did not write it down, Kelley Kells. I cannot hear you.
You were muted. Charitable.
Okay, charitable. Okay.
I didn't know I had you.
Okay, charitable. Okay, so that's why. Okay, so that's why it wasn't popping up, because it's giving me real time. So she is correct. The moon is switching over into Virgo in the next hour and a half to 2 hours. So you need to be
And I
mindful.
said,
Go
I've
ahead.
already actually experienced it and had to put up a boundary. You know, I've already, and it's just 10 Eastern. And I've already received a call from, had a situation that I feel like required my attention. I've tried to tend to it, got a stinky reaction, and had to push back from the reaction, like, well, my phone rang. So you can't get annoyed that I'm calling you back, and now it's not convenient for you. But my phone was ringing this morning, and now I care. So that's why I'm, calling you, and don't sound annoyed, because my phone rang first, and I'm really just concerned. And that person acknowledged it and said, I'm sorry, thank you so much. But you would have thought that I was the police beating on their door at 4 o'clock in the morning. It was really stinky for me to be concerned and for my phone to have rang from that household first.
Let me just also say this, because this was the bottom of the deck when I was on mute, and I didn't even know that I was on mute. So thank you, Miss T, for letting me know. Speed bump, okay? You can find that people are going to want to speed bump over things, right? So, and so this is also going to be linked to gaslighting, okay? Maybe even some love bombing is going to be the methods that they're going to use to try to speed bump over things, right? Maybe even projection, all right? And I want to say this too. It's okay to confront the energy directly, immediately, and it doesn't have to be confrontation with what's the word? I want to be very mindful of words. I just feel to be very mindful. It does not have to be confrontation with its friction, okay? It could just be you're confronting whatever this is and you're standing in your truth. It's going to be very important for you to stand in your truth, okay? So you don't want to overcommit yourself to things that is not within your truth. So for example, you got invited to, let's say, go to a barbecue or something, or after work with somebody, right? But you know that you really don't want to go to this event. And it's not like your spirit is saying, because you have those moments where you don't want to do something and spirit says, go ahead, do it, for whatever reason you feel pushed or led to do it. This is not one of those times, okay? So if you're feeling like you shouldn't do something because your body is responding in a particular way, then you need to go ahead and listen to what your body is saying, okay? It's important for you to tap into your truth, and your body's going to let you know that, because your nervous system is trying to heal. So your body's going to let you know that, all right? So just know that you're also going to probably be experiencing, along with the stinky energy, some self-entitlement is also what popped out, Kelley. Didn't I just say gaslighting?
Mm-hmm.
And that popped out also.
Because that's what speed bumpers do. Mm-hmm. And so the term speed bump, for the people listening, and I think we were on mute when I tried to say it the first time, I came up with that in that that's when someone has an infraction against you or you've been trespassed against and their trespasser don't want to acknowledge it. Mm-hmm. They just spin the block like, oh, time has passed, or you could take that, or I'm just like that, or you know how I am. Any infraction or something where you feel microaggressive, trespassed against is a good word, when the trespasser don't want to acknowledge it and just want to go over it. That's what speed bumping is in this scenario. Now, I don't do well with that.
Let me also say this, all right, because this journey so much is not so much about other people, but its journey is about you. So even in an opportunity, when someone rubs up against you or even wants to speed bump something, it's still important for you to be able to ask yourself where you land in all of this, okay? because the rub up against or the infraction is to wake you up to who you truly are. Is for you to be able to stand in your truth. Okay, none of this energy is meant to keep you down or oppress you. This energy is for you to evolve. All right, so even if you're dealing with somebody that's self-entitled, somebody that's gaslighting, or somebody that's speed bumping, if you are aware of you, you will be able to navigate through the gaslighting. You will be able to see it right up front, okay? Because you will be able to, I want to say, when you've had experience in that, it's an energetic thing. It's not so much of the words, but you can just feel energetically that this person is gaslighting you because you've been there. You know what that like. What's that like? You know when somebody is trying to just blow a lot of compliments and a lot of pleasantries up your ass just because they want something, right? And a lot of this, let me just say this, parents. Okay. Parents, just know a lot of this energy is going to be coming from your children that's either in puberty stage or your grown children that's going through what's called Saturn return. Okay. The early part of Saturn return. So this can either be puberty children, okay, or adolescent, pre-adolescent teens, when you feel like you got some independence, right? As well as showing up in your adult children that are going through Saturn return. So be mindful of that. You're going to get a lot, and this is going to show up as this. It's going to show up as self-entitlement. So know that. So the things that you may have done to make sure that your children, had what you didn't have. So all of the hard work that you put in, just know that there's going to be some self-entitlement energy that's there that you're going to have to work through. And the questions that are going to be asked is just maybe tapping into you. Am I doing too much? What do I need to work on within me? This is all an opportunity. Not that you don't have to check these kids, okay? Look at this, bottom of the deck, because the universe don't do blind justice. So just be mindful of that. I just wanted you to be mindful of that. Like, this journey is not about anybody else. It's about you. It's about your soul's evolution. And your soul is going to keep giving you the lesson until you get it. It's going to be different faces, okay? All right, or maybe not this particular child. You may have raised 3 kids, and this last baby that you had, this 4th one, is giving you hell, right? But this is because your soul is at the point where it's ready for whatever lesson your 4th child is here to bring in, okay? Or maybe let's say, your 4th marriage. Shit, you got anything, Kelley Kells?
No, you're killing it. I'm sitting here listening to you like the people listening online. And this is what we do in the morning. I'm just listening.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, and this is where I've come to, especially within this past year, and we talk a lot about this behind the scenes, me, you, Tanya, Danielle, and my mom, when I have all of these conversations, whether it's, group or individually, we talk about this all of the time, right? We talk about what we've learned, right? We talk about how we're more comfortable with ourselves. Well, me, I know I talk about that a lot, okay? And I was listening to something because I love what's it, Young? Did I say that?
Yeah, Young.
Okay.
Young.
I love his work because his work lines up with a lot of the spiritual material that I have studied in that just vibrates in my inner knowing, okay? So I really love his work. And I was listening to a video where he just really co-signed everything that I'm feeling, right? You get to a space along the spiritual walk, and listen to me, okay? And I want to say this now. There is a thing called the birthing process, right? And it does not necessarily mean a physical birth where you're birthing children, okay? The birthing process can also be where you're birthing a new aspect of yourself, right? A new healed aspect of yourself, or not even healed, a new wholer aspect of yourself, right? Which just means that things about you that was once in the dark, right? That may have had the light shined on it because of a painful experience. So none of this shit is wasted, right? It may not necessarily feel good. So in this birthing process, There is something called labor pains, right?
Or metamorphosis, like a
Like
caterpillar to a butterfly.
exactly. And even if you imagine the caterpillar breaking out of the crystals, right?
That's painful.
That's very painful. And do you know if you try to help that caterpillar, that butterfly out of that crystals, that you can cause it to
To die.
die and to have limbs that have not developed properly? So one of the limbs may not fully be functionable, because the whole goal is for that butterfly within that birthing process or that transformation process, right, is to evolve. And if you evolve prematurely, or if you evolve, or let's just say, or if you choose not to evolve, right, there's a process of death that you continually, okay, not okay. I think I'm explaining it like this too, because it's the same thing when you're no longer in this physical world. This is how it operates outside the physical world, okay? You create your own heaven on hell, okay? So it doesn't matter what dimension or realm you go into, right? You're the operator, co-creator with source of your experiences so your soul could evolve, okay? So heaven and hell is not a place that you're going to get to when you transition out of this physical body. Heaven and hell is a mental structure place, okay? Because a lot of people are walking around in hell right now as we speak. Right?
On this earth, I can see it right outside.
Uh-huh.
The afflicted, the addicted, like, yeah,
Okay.
I witness it.
Okay. And heaven, some people are experiencing heaven as we speak. I'm experiencing heaven right now, just sitting here hanging with you guys. Right?
Yeah.
This is my moment of heaven, to sit here hanging with you guys so we can remember who we are. So we can move through and navigate through the uncomfortable things that's presented to us, right? And a lot of it is going to be presented to us by people that we know and love. That's just the way the energy is going to come. So nobody really has the power to break you or destroy you. You understand what I'm saying? They don't have that power unless you give that power to them. Nobody has the power to stop you from evolving unless you give that power to them. And I know sometimes the pain is really, really painful. Like heartbreak can be really, really painful. Okay? But in order for you to be able to experience your heaven, you may need to go through hell first. You can't appreciate heaven if you don't necessarily know what hell looks like, right? That's what it's all about. It's about your soul expanding through everything, because your soul, as your soul expands, your soul knows that eventually you're going to get to a place where you know there is no good or bad, right? It's just experiences and evolution. But in the meantime, your job is to learn energy, protect your energy, and navigate by doing as less harm to others as you can. Right? That's your job. Now, there may be some rules and some things in between there that you may need to understand and navigate, But the overall thing is you're here to learn and evolve. I'm just going to also say this, girl. This is my first time in months, probably a year, drinking my sea moss again. I just made me a batch of sea moss gel, right? And I can be honest, I'm not looking forward to the taste of it because I make my own gel, right? And I don't add any pineapple or anything to because sea moss can be pretty nasty if you're doing it like just by the gel. So I'm about to go take a sip of this tea, y'all. And I'm not looking forward to it. Yeah, it tastes like salty seawater. Peppermint tea with salty seawater. That's what it tastes like. Okay.
But it's so good for you.
But it's so good for you. It's so good for you. Okay. So the word of the day again was charitable, right? You're going to be dealing with stinky energy. So today may be the day where you operate in kindness, not because you have to, but because you can. Let me write that down.
What?
Move in kindness, not because you have to, but because you can. Stinky
You say
energy.
that every day.
I know, but
Oh,
I'm
that's what
writing
you
it
want to
down
put
for the
it.
title.
Okay.
Yeah, stinky energy. Yeah, move in kindness. Yeah. Yeah, because you can. Stinky energy. I think that's what I'm going to name it because you get to choose whether or not you're going to be happy, frustrated, sad. You get to choose that. And can I just tell you, depending on what you're going through, you may have to choose that shit 1,000 times a day. Hello. I'm just telling y'all, okay? You know how much times I had to choose to come over to a place that I'm already okay? Not that I'm going to be okay, that I'm already okay. Within the past year, I spent so much time in nature within the past year, just literally just being grateful and in the midst of everything falling apart, y'all. Everything was falling apart. Kelley will tell you everything that was established that I thought I knew was falling apart. But now that I'm a year in, I understand that that had to unfold for me to be here with you guys right now in this moment, sharing what I've learned. And the person, yeah, like and the person who I was back then is not the person I am now. You know, I feel like it's like cleaning, right? You do like a major, you know how your parents, when you were younger, you got the spring cleaning, then you got to take down the summer curtains because fall is coming in, right? And then, okay, then you got to put up the Christmas decorations, but you got to clean the whole house before any decorations go up because the curtain got to go up and stuff, right? Okay, so it's kind of like spring cleaning and know that you just dust off the top of that shelf, right? In springtime, and now is fall. You can't expect to go back in the fall and not find any dust or residue, right, on that shelf. It's the same thing in spiritual work. So you're always going to have to be in a place where you are dusting things off or uncovering things about yourself, unfolding to yourself. It's about reconnecting with yourself and remembering yourself. So as you're moving throughout the day and being kind to others, not because you have to, but because you can, that act of kindness first has to start with yourself. So I think I need to make that clear, all right? Because if you don't have it to give to yourself, then you truly don't have it to give to somebody else. And another thing I learned on this journey too, and this is so random, but this is what popped up in my head, but this is so random. Another thing that I learned in this journey is that a lot of what I placed the word love on had nothing to do with love. Nothing to do with love.
You really, after, having an interesting experience, we'll call it, you really kind of, in a healthy way, pull back the curtain. Because you got to experience it sometimes before you can see it. And then it kind of like a head cocking moment to the side, like, love don't mean the same thing for you. Okay, duly noted. Like, I didn't know that was, like, I would have been gobsmacked what people have done in the name of love. But just because I have reverence for the word and what it means for me, I didn't make sure that I was aligned with the person that also thought, you know what I mean? Like, love didn't mean the same thing for both of us.
And it didn't. And here's another thing that Carl Jung has just, because I love breaking down the psyche, And this is why I keep talking about that same love. When I discovered that I put labels on things and called them love that didn't have fucking shit to do with love. Nothing. So I put all these labels on love, and then you have these expectations of giving love, and then love not being, returned to you in the same way that you give it. But this stuff had absolutely nothing to do with love. Okay, Miss T said something, Kelley, but I can't read it because the thing is pointing down.
Give me a second.
Thank you.
Give me a second. Keep going though.
But it has nothing to do with love, right? And then
She said, "Oh wow, that's good. What does love really mean to you?" Question mark. Yeah, because it's like you can be in a whole relationship and you won't realize until the end or whatever. Like, wow, we did not have the same definition of what love means.
And can I just also say, I just want to piggyback off of what you say that, Kelley. And not only did we not have the same definition of what love means, what I came into was, shit, do I need to revise my definition of love? Right? Because clearly, right, the way and the vibration that I've been operating on has been like I pour that outside of me, right? So within this past year, I really got to a place where I understood that I am love, and I didn't have to show up trying to teach you or trying to get you to understand. My only job in the space of love was being able first to pour that love into myself. And once I'm able to do that, then it's freely given to other people. I don't have it's like there's no trying to, there's just being. Just being. You don't have to try to love anybody. You can literally just be. Once you get to a place where you understand fully that you don't have to show up every time to be loved, right? You don't have to be the smartest to be loved. You don't got to be, quote unquote, the sexiest to be loved. Like, you are worthy of love because you are. Period. Period. And when you get into that space, you begin to see that your definition of love and everybody's definition of love is not different. And I'm going to say this too. You may even begin to believe, because this is part of the healing, that the definition of love that you gave wasn't even your fucking definition. It's a definition that was taught to you. Whether it was taught to you, you understand?
Like, yeah, by indoctrination. And you know, I always tell you that, like, when we're girls coming up and everything, it's like we were taught, you got to do this, you got to get a husband, you got to have 2.5 kids, you got to be God-fearing, got to go to Sunday school, you got to, you know, all of these things. And it's like, and I used to drive my mom crazy, because when she would say all that stuff to me, I looked her dead in the face and like, when am I supposed to belong to myself? And she's like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, so I've been good through high school. I listen to what you say. I'm not fast. I'm not bad. I'm not a hoe. Didn't get pregnant. Went to college. Still followed the rules. Now I'm home from college. And now I'm supposed to align with somebody that's going to tell me what to do and be somebody's mama. At what point am I supposed to be me?
And I think that's... I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, and she just looked at me like dead stare for a minute, like being you wasn't even an option. That's what she's looking at, like.
Because she wasn't taught that. She wasn't. That. She was not taught that that was an option. And let me just say this: innately, women are born wanting to have kids, wanting to be, wanting to have that experience of motherhood, wanting to have that experience of being in love, right? Innately, you are born with the gene set of nurturing, okay? Whether that's nurturing your own children or nurturing people, it doesn't matter, right? You just have a particular gene set of femininity that you're born with, okay? Now, we're not in a space right now where all of the indoctrination and let me just say this too, the indoctrination may not have necessarily came from this is what girls do, this is what boys do, right? It could have came from you having to over achieve to get love. You understand what I'm saying? You having to be the best at everything to get love or to get acknowledged from your parents, right? You always have to try to, because some parents pit kids against each other, right?
And that's also quickly in how our hormones are set up at that age. Our female hormones are set up to be pleasing. Pleasing. That's why how, when we're at that age, we're set up for science, for hunting, right? So innately, our body is like, we got to find that partner, in our bodies. at that age, the hormones that's coursing through our veins at that age is looking for a partner to mate. Even though the outside world is different from when we originally start mating, but them hormones make us look for each other, at that age. And it's a thought that you put on it. And so I think the indoctrination comes from you only supposed to do that with one person and then forever.
Yeah, it's a programming set. I think that a lot of us grew up with, that this generation have the freedom where they're not locked into that program code, right? They're not locked into that program code, and a lot of that is just the energetic of where we are, just energetically, But I do want to say this, right? The programming and the indoctrination does not just come from being told. The programming and the indoctrination can come from you having to do certain things, right? That triggered certain feelings that you're now connecting to love, right? So, say for example, if you always had to be an overachiever or get A's, or be the best in science, or have the best science project, right? For your mother or your father to praise you and to say, oh, this is my son, this is my daughter, then what you're going to attach to love is, in order for me to be loved, I have to be an overachiever, right? You're not coming into a relationship saying that I'm entitled to be loved because I am. Just because I exist means I'm entitled to be loved, period. Everybody that exists is entitled to be loved. I really don't care what anybody got going on or what's going on in the world, the most horrific thing. Everybody in the world comes in with the energy to be loved. The problem that we have here is that people don't know themselves. And a lot of times when you don't know yourself, you don't know that you're entitled to love. You don't have to do things to be loved. There's no competition between what you believe and what I believe, right? It doesn't matter, because we're all expressing love in different ways, or source in different ways, or God in different ways, or Allah in different ways, or Buddha in different ways, right? Krishna in different ways. It doesn't really matter. What matters is, and I'm going to say this, people really just want to be seen, loved, and accepted at the end of the day. At the end of the day, people are really just doing the best with what they can do with where they are. And that includes people that are toxic. So it is your job to understand how to identify toxic energy, and for you to evolve and move past it, because everybody's going to evolve eventually. But it's not everybody's graduation to the place that you're going to. So we can't hold people hostage, emotionally, mentally, right? You can't hold people hostage because they're not evolving at the rate that you think they should evolve, or they're not moving or doing, or, well, I did this for you now. Why now when I need you to, you can't do that? No. If that's the patterns that you're going to be living in, you're going to get stuck in this energy. This energy is about learning to become your own best friend. This energy is about learning how to be compassionate without thinking compassion means that you got to co-sign people's bullshit. Compassion don't mean co-signing people's bullshit. Compassion is just giving people the space to operate in their bullshit if they want to. Sometimes when you're compassionate, it's just like even being a parent, right? And you've raised girls, Kelley, so you know what I'm talking about. It gets to a point where you can't give them no more advice on certain things. You just got to go ahead and let them experience that shit for themselves.
My biggest lesson in raising Tamia and how we got at a great place that we are now is I meet her where she is. I do not expect her to come up to me. And for years and years and years, I was trying to bring her up to me. Well, I didn't you see me do that? But once I got in my body that I'm going to go to her, we had the best relationship ever.
Mm-hmm. You allow people to be just like you would want people to allow you to be, right? And I think when you really, and I'm just speaking from my experience of where I am now, and I'm sharing this with you, right? When you go through heartbreak and you go through trials and you go through what we call tribulation, that gives you an opportunity for you to really visit the parts of you that may not have had light shined on them for a really long time, right? the parts within you where you got to ask yourself the questions and you got to sit with the uncomfortable feeling, you know? You got to sit with it. And sometimes it's uncomfortable. Well, shadow work is uncomfortable. You know that
it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I will say this: it's incredibly satisfying because once you deal with the things that you don't want to deal with, and you actually face them, you realize they weren't as hard as you thought they were, as they were. You know, even those tough conversations that don't nobody want to have. Ultimately, once we have them, we like, that was nothing.
That was nothing.
That was like I made. You know, we make a monster out of things that we don't want to deal with. We make it so much bigger, you know, than they actually are when we deal with them. And that is why, you know, quick sidebar to the sidebar, that I'm able to have the hard conversations and stuff now because I know there's a freeing that comes after. Like once you had them hard conversation, and once you just, I cannot implore enough, and you know that this is the big thing for me, to follow your sword.
There's nothing wrong the minute that you made a mistake, that you maybe said that a little harsher than you needed to because of where you were 2 minutes ago, you know, or you're scared, you know, like, or or you're nervous, or you're dealing with some anxiety right now, whatever it is. Like, you're gonna have to start owning your own feelings. That's the only way for you to know when people are projecting on you, right? This is when you're going to know people. This is when you'll be able to walk into a room knowing, wait a minute, before I walked through this door, my spirit was feeling good. I was feeling happy. As soon as I entered this building, all of a sudden, you know, my stomach is in knots, you know, I'm feeling irritable. That's you being able to understand the energy of the environment that you're in. Something in that environment is registering as irritable and anxious. And you need to be able to learn how to trust that, and so you can navigate that energy and meet it, like, you know, like Kelley just said, confront it. And it doesn't mean that you got to confront it in an aggressive or abrasive way, you know? It just, sometimes the confrontation is just an acknowledgement that that energy is in the environment, just so you can be aware of it. Simply put. So people are going to be moving with stinky energy today, all right? I'm just going to put this here. It says a liar has no memory. Okay.
Keep your receipts.
Yeah. You know, Capricorns believe in keeping your receipts, right? Capricorn is going to pull them receipts, right?
I mean, I don't want to. It's just, I was just made like this.
Charitable.
I got a library.
You see, charitable is the word today. You want to move in kindness today, not because you have to, but because you can. The energy that you put out is the energy that you're going to give back. Just be aware for gaslighting energy, this energy of self-entitlement, especially when it comes to your children, your partners, okay, or anybody close to you intimately. Anybody that shares your intimate space, okay, can be operating in self-entitlement energy. And that simply means that the first time that you tell them no, they're going to throw a fucking temper tantrum, okay? So just be mindful of that, all right? Be mindful of your commitments today, what you're committing yourself to also, okay? People may want to speed bump things, okay? And you're going to find that me and Kelley Kes make up all these different phrases. And this was one of the phrases she came up with, which was speed bump, which means that people may want to sweep things under the rug and not deal with them. Okay. Hence where the gaslighting is going to come in, and maybe even with a self-entitlement where it will be projecting itself. I also want to say this too. The self-entitlement is just not going to come from your family or the kids. You know, this could also be, a generational thing. So somebody at work, you know, I really feel that this is immature energy. Okay, so the self-entitled energy could show up as immature energy. So just be mindful of that. Okay. Now, I want to say this, and then we can go ahead and close it out, Kelley Kes. I had a wonderful conversation with Latanya yesterday after we jumped off the live. And one of the things that she was asking me to kind of break down was the difference between toxic people and narcissists, right? She said, because I just kind of put everybody in the same box, right? Like,
oh, no. No, it's levels.
So I was explaining to her that there's levels to this. So we're going to tap into The difference between toxic relationships or toxic people and narcissists, because there is a spectrum. And if you're an empath, you need to learn how to identify that spectrum, because you are the light, and that energy is like a moth that's drawn to the light. Okay? So you're going to have to be mindful of the light and the love that you show up in spaces with. Okay? And this is one of the things that people behind the scene that loves me tell me all the time. Okay? Although you don't see yourself the way that you are, doesn't mean that other people doesn't. Okay, my girl Kelley tells me that all the time. Danielle tells me that. You know, people may not see, you may not see yourself the way people sees you. So you are the light. You need to learn how to read energy in this quasi era. It's going to be important. Okay, Kelley, you want to go ahead and just review again what the word of the day is so we can kind of wrap it on up. I think y'all probably got a nice drive to work. This was a nice 40 minutes, 41 minutes.
Girl, everybody is at work.
Oh shit, okay. I'm sorry, y'all. I work from home.
Yeah, you
And
just,
my
yeah, I'm
apologies.
like, just
My
stop.
apologies. I'm still here in my bathrobe.
Yeah, I'm like, just stop.
I'm still here in my
1 second.
bathrobe.
I'm going to do it in 1 second. I'm looking for my eyes. I'm looking for my eyes.
I hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful day.
Okay. Hold on. I found my eyes. Everybody. Here we go. So, reminder, charitable. I'm just going to read the part that's the most pertinent.
Yes.
Hold on. Here it is. You can offer real help if you avoid martyrdom. Streamline your efforts so that service sustains you rather than depletes you. Under the Sun-Jupiter square, generosity and excess are competing for attention today. Governments, corporations, communities may announce relief efforts or social reform that test fairness and faith. How can I offer support that helps without overgiving? Quick sidebar. A lot of stuff is going on in the government and stuff, and it's okay to turn the news off and tune out.
Yeah.
It's okay to tune out because you can't fix it. We can all do our part mentally, spiritually, whatever your regimens are, but don't get ignited and don't match the energy of your trespasser. That's what I'll close with.
And just keep in mind also, your trespassers are here to teach you about you. So you want to ask not why they did this to me, but what is the lesson they're here to teach me. When you get out of the you know, and I'm telling you guys, this is not the time for you to be pointing and being victim. You're gonna have to learn the lessons or the whatever your soul is trying to. Let me put it a different way. You're gonna have to learn what your soul is trying to evolve into, because if you do not get a grip on that, it is going to become bigger until you get the lesson. Different faces, different jobs, but the same energy. Okay? So be mindful of that. You cannot run from yourself. When people show up, they are showing you reflections of you that you may need to heal, you may need to embrace, you may need to love more, you may need to acknowledge, you may need to forgive. Okay? I'm telling you. Hey, Simone. Okay, Kelley Kells. I can't see the text. I'm just seeing a little bit. I don't know if you have any comments that we want to read.
I don't.
Okay.
Me closing out.
Okay, perfect. All right, y'all. We'll be back here again tomorrow. I love you guys so much. Have a wonderful, beautiful day. I'm gonna be back on here later, though.
Kamoy will be back later.
I'll be back on here later. Okay. I love you guys so much.
You're gonna do a happy hour, or what you gonna do?
I think I'm gonna do a happy hour. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna do a happy hour. Yeah. We're going to tap into what your day kind of ended like with the stinky energy that we got going on. Remember, you want to be...
I got a question. Stop. Also, guys, if you're watching this, and I like to call it astronomy and astrology in motion, if anything happened to you today, an occurrence, and you need to divert your attention, send us a comment or something and tell us how you see this in motion, what we've just gone through today.
Yeah, playing out in your life. As you sit back.
Yeah, it's a good way for a distraction. If you get triggered, talk to us. Get in the chat. Put your comments in because we read them. Or if there's a topic you want us to address, but just, you can engage with us. Because I really like to know since you guys hear the energy early in the day, how you can see it in motion, examples of the stuff we talked about in the morning in your day-to-day life. And that is a great way to divert when you get triggered. You could be like, oh, this is that thing. So
They just talked about that this morning.
Yeah. So just, you can engage and let us know and we'll get into it.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it. All right, y'all. I love y'all so much. Okay. Be kind to yourself because you should. All right. And be kind to somebody else, not because you have to, but because you can. And the world needs more love and compassion. So even if it's just a smile, be kind. You don't have to walk around with a stink face all day. Okay. Love y'all. See y'all later. Bye.